what the government have been pressing us to do more and more as a sector is work more closely with SMEs, and that bit doesn't appear to be working particularly well. Okay, in this graph, again, I think highlights some of that again. It's the same sort of thing, income versus time. If you look at this is just for one thing, this is for contract research income, just one of those income streams. And the three bars represent SMEs down here, the black bar is other non-SME commercial businesses, and the white bar here is non-commercial. And the SME income, as a fraction of the contract research income, has actually dropped. Okay, so why is that? Is it because SMEs don't want to work at universities, they don't understand how to work with us? Is it they're just not interested? Okay? There's a mantra in Whitehall, it's been strong for a while, that universities must work with SMEs, but the evidence so far suggests that that relationship isn't happening particularly well. We need to address that. The other final bit of detail before I move on is to do with this chart here. I'll change the scenery. IP income. Now, IP, we talked a bit about this briefly this morning to do with KTPs and who owns it and the rest of it. It's a big hot potato. It's not resolved yet across UK universities. There are nuances all around how you split the IP up, etc., shared out. But these sorts of graphs excite people in central government because they show some interesting things. This is a plot. Again, it's income on this side is in pounds sterling, income on this side is in dollars, in millions, and it compares the UK and the US in terms of the income from IP, so licensing, royalty fees, that sort of thing, over a period from 1999 to 2006. And look, the scales are very different. Okay, this is £10 million, this is $200 million, right? Okay, UK IP incomes increased 200% over that period, from activity that takes place between universities and businesses, which is good. The US has only increased 85%. Doesn't sound so good, but look where we're starting from. The UK started here at £20 million in 1999. The US, which is about 35 million US today, I guess, the Americans are starting at $700 million at the same time. Okay? So they're massively more advanced in how the universities work with businesses to extract value from IP. We're nowhere in that league yet. Although, of course, these sorts of figures and data in the wrong hands can drive policy, perhaps in the direction we don't want to be taken down. Because is it really true that the reason the US is so competitive in the world is because universities are brilliant at spinning out IP? Now, that might be supported by the data, but it might not actually be true on the ground. How do we measure that in the UK? Well, here's the last of these graphs. It's very hard to measure IP activity around a metric. Often they're based basically on inputs. Here is one input measure. Again, it's the same graph. It's for the University Alliance Group. And there's new patents filed, number here from 0 to 35, for all these universities over that same time period from 05, 06 to 07, 08. And here they are. You can actually see the old university here, Bournemouth, is above upper quartile, the number of patents filed. In fact, we've increased year on year. Now, I guess that's a good thing, but most of these probably won't make money. They certainly take up money in getting all the IP and the legal side of things sorted out. And much of this patent filing activity, as an input measure, is driven by students at this university. And you'll see, if those of you around there this evening going to the show, you'll see some great examples of products which we will patent and might become successful later in the future. But is that a really good way to measure the health or the vigour of business-facing activity in universities? Just the number of patents filed. You can sit there all day just filing patents. Good for you. Most of them never make any money. Oh, I've got a great big statistic. And what does it really tell you? I think the best way, the most blunt way really, is probably the amount of real hard cash that venture capitalists plough into universities as a lump sum at the end of a financial year. Is it 2 million? Is it 5 million? Is it nothing? And that counts. Right? That's a measure of how much people believe in you and your product. That hasn't happened yet, but I think the Mandelson and people like that running universities, that sort of hard-nosed metric will become more to the fore in the future. So just to wrap up then, what are we doing around this sort of innovation, business-facing agenda? Well, please come along tonight to the third part of this, the Design Fodi, first of the Design Innovation. It starts at about 4 o'clock, VIP invite for you guys, and just wander around for 10-15 minutes. You don't need to stay the whole course. Great to see you. If you've got a dash off, that's fine as well. We have this thing called an innovation centre. I'll mention that on the next slide. We do spin-outs, the company that Fluvial company that Simon spoke about this morning. That's one of our spin-outs. We own about 12.5% of that company is owned by the university. So clearly we have an exit strategy 3 or 5 years time. We want to sell that and make a big profit on that investment. And we don't just have one Simon. We want to grow and cultivate lots of them. We've got about half a dozen spin-outs in various states for development. And kind of conventional wisdom, rule of thumb, is that you need about 10 of those guys. Maybe half of them will fail over the next 2 or 3 years. But if you can float a couple of those on at AIM, 5 years down the line, then that's a kind of a job done. So that's what we. So working on that, sort of behind-the-scenes stuff on the spin-outs at the moment at university. Licensing. Well, someone was telling me that they drove yesterday, got stuck in the queue for Glastonbury. Don't know who it was. It was someone from, because of course Glastonbury Festival is going on at the moment, and one of our students developed this thing as a pop-up tent, and it's used extensively at Glastonbury. It just pops up, as it says on the tin, and I think they leave them behind. It probably contributes something to landfill because they're so cheap. Okay, they just leave them behind. We own, one of our students developed that tent. We own the IP. We license the IP to a company called Gillette, which is a UK company manufactured, I think, in the UK. We sold 43,500 units in 07, 100,000 plus 2008, and we're looking to negotiate. We're presently negotiating a sales stream with the US now, which is a massive market. So we'll start to make quite a lot of money on this one product, and we have others as well, which are going through different commercialisation streams. All of this stuff, the universities, not just us, other universities are doing the same kind of thing. The Innovation Centre, that's funded initially by the RDA. It's housed in the Lansdowne. It's a building in the Lansdowne area of Bournemouth. 45 businesses have been supported in that centre since 2001. Most from the local community. We've got 9% of these are spin-outs. What does this offer? Well, there's things like virtual services, there's business units, varying sizes, hatchery desks, etc. And that's generated about 123 jobs, we think, in Bournemouth and Dorset since 2001. So these are all things that universities are more and more getting involved with and helping really the local business communities. The education side is also important. I think the point made by the KTP, by Norman in his KTP talk, is that another reason for doing this enterprise activity is not just to make money for the university, although that's important, it's to enhance the undergraduate experience. We want a product that leaves UK universities who are entrepreneurial, free-spirited, who want to go out there and help make money, etc. But how do you teach that? You could stand up, as I did to you, quite laboriously, with a textbook, this is how you be an entrepreneur, with loads of case studies about Richard Branson and something. But, can you even teach how you become an entrepreneur by someone in an authority mode standing up and talking at you? I don't know. I'm probably curious out on that. What we do here is we let the students run it themselves. So the students here have this thing, it's part of the student union, it's co-branded with them, it's called Business Mania, and it's funded by Microsoft. Entrepreneurial. They go to Microsoft to give us some money to set up a student entrepreneurship society. Independent of the lecturing staff, pretty much, which is good. They run all this sort of exciting stuff themselves, business clinics, mentoring networks, etc. So a grassroots up approach really to developing and embedding entrepreneurship in the student experience, not through the formal lectureship route. That's an important aspect in an area that universities need to get more supported with in terms of their student activities. So all that understood, things are going to change, aren't they? Quite significantly, perhaps, in the next 12 months. We're going to have a general election quite soon. There's our new boss, okay? He has priority areas, and it's not him, is it? There's 3 of them now, isn't there? There's Mandelson, Drayson, who's science, and Alan Sugar. Okay, so those 3 great lords, okay, they're sort of running or helping to shape university policy at least for the next 12 months. What are the priority areas? Well, we've heard about some of them: low carbon, obviously, services, advanced manufacturing, life sciences, digital. How will those themes play out across the Southwest is an important one. We've heard about some already, but certainly opportunities for universities and businesses to work together on those agendas. And I guess no matter what flavour the next Parliament is, pretty much those things will stand, just because they're kind of obvious ones. I think what else you might want to have up there. No one's going to go back and say, right, let's really push unsustainable energy, let's really push high carbon. It's not